Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. If my voice sounds a bit off, it's because I am still battling with a bit of a cold. Now, the other day I had an entire video talking about dead TCGs and how most TCGs don't last 2 years and the 3 primary reasons for that lack of long-term shelf life. In this video, I'm going to make the argument that dead TCGs are totally something that you can and should enjoy, especially when your primary hobby is down in the dumps. Now, if you've been playing any game for any amount of time, chances are there are updates, releases, etc. that you just don't agree with. Maybe there's a new set you just don't like, or a new mechanic that you just really don't like, and you start waving the flag of this game is dead. And it happens all the time with many different TCGs, especially. You know, for the last 10 years, Yu-Gi-Oh's been going through a power creep, and every new set there are people who go, oh, this game is dead, it's a turn 0 format. For Magic, since 2019, there's been a lot of hooting and hollering about how bland and uninspired the game is, and how every new set is the worst set ever. And Pokemon, actually, there's not a whole lot wrong with Pokemon, in my opinion. And you know, I do this a lot myself. I often voice my complaints and my misgivings about Magic, especially on the internet. I love to go on long-winded tirades about how much I hate the newest set and its associated story. But, you know, when your favorite TCG or favorite group of TCGs is particularly bad, you don't have to play them, especially if your local friend group isn't enjoying them. It's totally a good option for you to just put it down and try something else. Now, usually that means just swapping over to another popular TCG and seeing how you like that, but playing a dead TCG, picking up a card game that hasn't been on the market for 5 or 10 years, also works, especially if it's just a good card game that had the misfortune of being canned. You know, I talked about the Mega Man TCG on this channel before, and I strongly believe that that is a great card game to pick up if you and a friend or two just want a break from Magic the Gathering for a few months. And I use the term break there because I don't believe most of the time that you should quit a TCG. If for whatever reason you are really, really hating wherever Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever it is you play is at the moment, I don't believe quitting is the choice you should make. Especially since down the road, 3 to 5 years later, you're probably going to regret quitting the game and getting rid of all your cards. Instead, if you are particularly angry at whatever card game you're playing, my recommendation is to take all of your cards, put them away in a box, shove that box in your closet for a few years, and try something else. Try anything else, really. It doesn't have to be a dead TCG or even another TCG. You can try picking up a board game. You can try picking up a video game series, etc. You know, never completely give up on your hobbies because you never know what you'll regret letting go of later on in life. At least that has been my personal experience with it. But what should you be trying in the interim? Well, there's a laundry list of dead TCGs, as I've said before, and some of them are really just amazing. And it's not just dead TCGs either. There are some currently live obscure TCGs that I think are perfectly fine picking up. If you are having trouble with Magic the Gathering, for instance, then Force of Will or Flesh and Blood are both totally good games that I think are very easy for Magic fans to get into. Force of Will is basically Magic if it had crossbred with Yu-Gi-Oh! And has a much more anime/Japanese influence. And Flesh and Blood feels more like a fighting game, but it has that fantasy sensation to it that old Magic used to have, and I find both are very good to sit down and play when I'm not feeling up to a game of Magic. If Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't doing it for you, then I strongly recommend picking up Vanguard. I have found Vanguard to be quite enjoyable, or even Weiss Schwarz, for that matter, since both of them really kind of cover the anime feel I want to get out of a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And of course, after a few months or maybe even years of trying whatever card game you've swapped over to, make sure to go back and see if you've fallen back in love with whatever you left for that change. You know, in 2014, when I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! When I got out of the game for what I thought was good, I sold my entire collection. Several binders, a lot of bulk, and a deck that I had spent 3 years putting together, and it wasn't until very, very recently, 2023, maybe 2022, that I got back into playing older formats like Edison or GOAT, and I deeply regretted getting rid of a lot of my older Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, because those would have been a boon for my rejoining of that game. I would have been very glad to have that old collection, and I do regret it now, but, you know, hindsight is 2020, and I believe that if you are going to say, hey, I am no longer in love with whatever card game you are talking about, don't put it away for good. Don't get rid of all your cards. Just put them away. You'll be glad for it, I promise. You know, nothing is static in this world. You will fall in love with and fall out of love with various things as you grow up and as you go through life. But what's important is that you don't let go completely of the things you've enjoyed over time, because you never know what you'll end up going back to. Now, if you do end up putting Magic down for 6 months or a year and try something else and then go back to Magic only to find you still don't like it, well then maybe it is time to drop your collection and move on with your life. Of course, if you just can't find yourself loving it no matter what, then yeah, go ahead and get rid of your cards, use that money for whatever your new passion or hobby is, and just move on. But I always strongly advocate just trying something else, taking a break, and seeing where it gets you when you come back. And that's really the entire conversation I wanted to have today. But you guys, let me know what you think about this, and of course, I will see you in whatever video comes next. Ciao!